Welcome to the Menopause Unplugged Podcast with me, your host, Nikki Oliveira. On this podcast, we will hear from women who are navigating the challenging and transformative journey of perimenopause and menopause. These women have graciously agreed to share their stories and insights, offering a raw and honest glimpse into what it's like to go through this major life transition. From hot flushes to rediscovering themselves, our guests will provide a wealth of knowledge and inspiration for anyone who's going through or will go through menopause. So grab a cup of tea, settle in, and join us for a fascinating and enlightening discussion. Welcome to the Menopause Unplugged podcast. We are on episode 12 today, and with me I have the lovely Claire. How are you doing, Claire?
Hello. I'm very well today, thank you.
Brilliant. So Claire, how did you find out that you were indeed menopausal?
Nobody has actually told me that, but I know just from symptoms and watching things that Davina McCall been, putting on Instagram or on the TV. I've watched things that she does. I haven't read a book yet, but I wish to eventually when I've got time. But just knowing little bits that, women talk about and what I've seen, really. So I presumed that's what it is, and I'm of age, so...
Mm-hmm.
I'm 50 now, so yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even if you went to a medical professional because of your age, they would have just confirmed your menopause or not just based on your symptoms anyway. So absolutely, self sort of confirmation, because we don't like to call it a diagnosis. It's not a disease or an illness. So yeah, absolutely. So what symptoms did you have then, or are you experiencing currently?
Well, it's changed recently, but at the beginning, probably about 5 years ago, and since then, I've been sort of like, I gained weight. I've lost it at the moment, but I gained weight, tiredness, brain fog, functioning, can't really, some days I can, some days I couldn't, aching all over, ankles, when I get out of bed in the morning, just general aching, and just some days better than others, really. So just really mixed bag of symptoms. And then periods really erratic. They can come every 3 weeks, or they're really heavy, or then they can not come at all for a month, and then have 2 in the same month.
Oh my goodness.
Just erratic, really.
Yes.
So that was my main symptoms, but of late, the symptoms got a lot worse. Sort of February this year, had a bit of a meltdown. Didn't know what was causing the meltdown. Anxiety. I've never experienced anxiety. I didn't even know what it was. And I had a major panic attack, called the paramedics, thought I was dying. Just didn't know what was wrong with me. And then obviously ended up at the hospital because I was in a real bad way. Not the hospital, the doctors.
Yeah.
In a really bad way, and they ended up putting me on hormone replacement. Since then, lot better. Didn't want to go on it initially, but you're a bit skeptical, but you hear all the good things about it. But my sister had cervical cancer, so it was a little bit of a worry, but I'm glad I did go on it. I know there's two ways of way people talk about it, isn't it, really? Some are very for it, some are very against it.
Yeah.
But I couldn't have carried on the way I was. So there was no choice really for me. Had to do something. I couldn't function. I couldn't, it was a real big meltdown. And I didn't know why I was like it. Couldn't explain to anybody what was wrong with me, or they kept thinking I was depressed. I'm not depressed. Yes, I feel, low in mood.
Yeah.
Couldn't function. I couldn't go to the shop and do a shopping list. I just couldn't function. But didn't know what it was, really. I knew I was menopausal, but until somebody actually tells you that, you're like...
Yeah, the penny doesn't drop, does it?
No, it doesn't. No, it didn't. I just thought I was losing the plot. But never mind. At least I'm not losing the plot.
Absolutely. No, you're absolutely not. So did they talk about antidepressants before the hormone replacement therapy, or were they just like, no,
I think
we'll
they were
just try?
concerned, was it that or was it my menopause? But then when I told them all the history of all the other stuff, they said no. Luckily, the doctor I saw was very on the ball, because it's not always that same way for some people, is it? Luckily, my doctor said, no, I think
Yeah.
you are menopausal. And first they tried me on a beta blocker for the anxiety,
Mm-hmm.
but I just ended up keep ringing back and saying, it's just not working. It's making me feel worse. I couldn't eat. It was giving me a dry mouth. That's why I lost weight, thankfully. All the weight
Yeah.
I've been trying to lose, thank the God I'd lost it. But that wasn't the answer. It wasn't helping me. It wasn't doing anything for me at
Mm-hmm.
all. It wasn't getting rid of the fuzzy head. It wasn't getting rid of the palpitations. It wasn't getting rid of the anxiety. I just felt worse, and I just kept ringing up, and each time you ring up you get a different doctor. But luckily they were all on the same page. They
Oh,
were
good.
all saying, we do think it's menopause, and we think now if they're not helping, the only way forward is probably a patch. And I said, okay, because what other option did I have apart from maybe antidepressants, which I didn't want to go down that road, honestly. So I was very lucky with my doctors, I think.
Yeah, I think so, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it is improving, I think,
Yeah.
over time,
Yeah.
because we know that it's not part of their normal training. It's
No.
additional for them. So
Yeah.
that's really good that the whole practice is up to scratch on
Yeah. For my
what
benefit,
to,
definitely.
yeah, just
Definitely.
on what to expect, and symptoms wise and so on. It's just so important.
Yeah.
So you mentioned you're on patches. Is that just for your estrogen? Are you on anything
Mine,
else?
mine are those. Don't know whether you can see that. I
No.
think it does have estrogen in, but it has 4 patches of one type and 4 patches of another,
Oh, right.
because I still have a period now
Yeah.
and again. So she said, so it says 4 hemohydrate, something acetate. I don't know what's in it. I think it is estrogen. I
Yeah.
think. I'm presuming. I don't really know. But I thought it's worth a try.
Absolutely. Yeah.
um, and I've been a lot better. It took a
So,
long time to kick in.
yeah, I
A
was
long
going to say, did they adjust your dosage of the patch?
They
Like,
haven't, but I might have to have another word,
up
because
to you?
because my hot sweat stopped in the night, and then all of a sudden they've come back. Now I thought when you was on patches maybe you shouldn't have them, but I don't know, because I've never been on them and I don't know anybody that has.
Yeah.
So maybe I should have another chat.
Yeah, I mean, really what it's doing is topping up your hormones. So what doctors tend to do is give you like a lower dose of a patch,
Yeah,
let it settle in your body,
yeah,
see how you get on, and then generally speaking, you have a follow-up appointment,
right.
um, just to see if any adjustments are needed. So it does take some ladies some time to get the right
Yeah,
level for them.
yeah, I
So
understand.
yeah, it depends on how long you've been on it now.
February time, end of
So
Feb, beginning of
so,
March, maybe.
yeah, you're probably about time to get a review, I think, because they usually say stay with it for 3 months and
Yeah,
then we'll have a check.
maybe I need that chat with them then,
Yes,
possibly.
possibly. So, so throughout, obviously, you having all of these menopausal symptoms, has there been any particular challenges that you've faced,
Um,
in general?
yes, I've recently, at the same time I had the wobble, I also think I was poorly, because I think I have an allergy. Nobody's confirmed this, because the doctor's not willing to particularly help with allergies that much. They're not great with that. They're great with the menopause at the moment, mine are, but they're not great with allergies. So I think my anxiety and palpitations, some of that was linked to my allergy. which seems to have come up at the same time. I don't know why, or if other women suffer with this, I don't know. But I had sent a hair sample off to an allergy centre, which the doctor says we don't recommend them because they haven't been tried and tested.
Okay.
But I've used them for my husband before, so I thought it's worth a try. Let's just see what I could be allergic to. And it's come back milk protein and soya. So I've now cut those out of my diet and it's been a lot better. A lot better. So I think it was hormones and I think it is that as well. But I need a diagnosis for the allergies, but they're not willing because I think the list is so long. I think that's why they're not willing. I think they want me to go down the private route.
Right.
But I've cut it out and it's helped. So it's obviously something. So that for me has been a real challenge because trying to get a diagnosis when they're not willing to help. And also it was impacting my life massively. Well, milk and dairy, it's in more or less everything. And so is soy. So it's two big ones that have impacted massive. And I used to run. So like the aching bones and things, I stopped running. I ran for 18 years and I stopped a couple of years ago because I just found that the body aches too much and that the recovery rate, a couple of days, 3 days later, I'm still aching. And I just thought maybe I should look at other exercise routines and weights, light weights, biking and things that are maybe not so rough on the body.
Like high impact exercise. I know what you mean. Running is, probably one of the more higher impact things exercise that you can do. So
it was just, I mean, you see so many women, a lot older than me running. I don't know how they do it. Maybe they don't struggle like I have, but
just different symptoms,
Yeah, maybe some women get nothing, do they? They're very lucky.
Yes, it's a small percentage of women don't really experience anything. But certainly it's different for everybody.
So, sorry, carry on.
I was going to say. So what have you implemented then, exercise wise, since you've stopped your running? Are you just doing walking and things?
Yeah, I do walking, I do riding my bike, and I follow a lady on YouTube that does sort of dancey exercises, but she incorporates like ankle weights or small weights in the hand because I think as you get older, you need to keep your muscle mass,
Absolutely.
So even light weights, like even a bottle, anything to hold to, help. So I've been doing lots of that really rather than running. To try and control my weight as well, because I think as you hit the menopause, you do tend to hold it around your middle.
You do indeed,
Unfortunately. Not where I want it.
No, that's great, Claire. So absolutely, you're doing everything that certainly me as a menopause personal trainer would suggest anyway. So that's great. So are you feeling as though your symptoms are like more managed now that you've made all of those changes?
I feel a lot happier than I was, definitely. I've lost a little bit of weight since going on the patches, whether that's that or whether it's because of other things, I don't know, but I have lost that half a stone that I put on because I was struggling and couldn't, exercise very well and couldn't do all the things that I were used to doing. Although I've always ate extremely healthy, fresh fruit and vegetables, and but now I just have to be mindful what's in them, what's in everything. But I suppose I've cut out milk as well, so that's quite fattening, isn't it? Although I used to drink skimmed, but yeah. So I just trying to be as healthy as possible and keep as strong as possible. Not to the excess, but just be mindful, really, which I've always done all through my life. So,
no, absolutely. Has being obviously we class you as perimenopausal because you're still having a bleed. So Would you say that your perimenopause has affected your relationships, like with work and with your family, socially?
My husband's quite good, actually. He's very understanding, really. So not with him particularly. I mean, bleeding 2 or 3 times a month, that's not great on a
No,
relationship.
not
But
helpful for anyone.
no, but he's very patient, and he always has a joke now. Oh, not again. You know, here it is again. How many days this time? It's just a standing joke now. The children, probably, they're mine are grown-up children. Probably not so understanding because they're young and they don't understand what you can go through as a woman. But I do talk to them about it because they need to know. In our day, it was never spoken about. You just went through the menopause, you knew your period stopped, and that was that. But I do try to explain to them, you know, this could happen, but it might. What I've experienced might not happen to you. Could be completely different because it is for every woman, isn't it? You know, I said your
Absolutely.
nan had nothing, not not even a hot flush, nothing. Your other nan suffered like I did, my mum. So you know, I just try and explain to them that you know this could happen. You need to be mindful when you get into your 40s. You know, but they were like, "Oh, great! I don't want this." I said, "Unfortunately, girls, you've got no choice."
Oh, goodness me.
Them.
Bless
Never
them.
mind. It's a challenge that we have to get through, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And I think, um, yeah, you're doing the best thing by telling them now as they're,
Yeah.
young females, rather than going through it and then them asking, Mum, what is this? What's going on with me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so absolutely.
Yeah, 'cause I think
Um,
I'd lost the plot a little bit when it first all kicked off.
yeah.
But I often wonder, I suffered really bad PMT.
Mhm.
Never had any medication for it, never went for anything because it eased as time went on. It was just in my early 20s and 30s, maybe. As I got to sort of 40s, it eased. I just wonder how much of that impacts when you go through the menopause. If you really struggle with PMT,
Yeah.
you have a really bad menopause. You know, I just wonder what the percentage is
Mm.
on the link because my mother-in-law didn't seem to have any issues with anything and she just flew through hers and didn't even know she'd finished or anything. It just
Very,
makes me wonder how, or if it is just a potluck.
yeah. Do you know there probably is some linkage, because at the end of the day it is all hormone related.
Yeah.
So no, so it'll be a good one for me to do a little bit of research
Yeah,
into.
I think so. It's often, you know, I know people that have had really bad PMT and have really had not a very nice menopause, you know.
Yeah.
But I just wonder if it's linked.
Because I mean, we know that really bad PMT symptoms can also be linked to other sort of hormonal conditions like endometriosis and
Yeah.
um, like a whole host of other things that are linked. They say that you shouldn't feel it shouldn't feel that bad, like you're in excruciating pain, and if it is, then you should probably be checked out by a gynecologist just in case.
Mine wasn't painful particularly. I would say it was more the anger, you
Yeah,
know, really bad anger
absolutely.
inside. I wouldn't release, you know, I couldn't explain to anybody how I felt
Mm,
inside. I felt like I could explode with anger. And then, soon as you'd come on, calm again,
yeah.
peace and calm and tranquility. It was just like those few days, week before,
Mm,
boiling inside. You could just flip at any, you know, any moment. I never did, obviously. So I
yeah.
couldn't have had it as bad as some people have it, but I used to experience that a lot.
Hmm.
lot, and I used to feel guilty afterwards that I felt like that.
Yeah.
Really bad anger, from nowhere, comes from nowhere. But then it eased as I got a bit older. It sort of, maybe that was the menopause coming into, play.
Possibly, yeah, just your hormones shifting,
Yeah.
shifting a gear or two.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank the
'Cause,
Lord it did.
yes, I mean, I'm pregnant at the moment with my
Oh,
second
are you?
baby. Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you, Claire. So,
Your
but
husband.
I experienced that
Yeah.
shift in mood, and it just depends. It's, I think it's almost got worse the closer I'm getting to baby coming.
Yeah.
So, no, yes, it's 100% hormonal related.
Yeah. It's not
Yeah.
nice what we have to go through.
No, we're very complicated beings, aren't we?
We are.
Men have it so much easier than us, for sure.
I was as calm as could be through pregnancies, though.
Oh, yeah.
I was horizontal.
Oh,
Loved being pregnant. And my husband loved it because I was so calm. He said
yeah.
I could do anything. You just go, yeah, that's fine. Not an ounce of aggression in me when I was pregnant.
I think it was more like that with my first.
Yeah.
Not so much with my second, but it's maybe because I'm running around after a toddler.
Yeah. And you're exhausted.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely. So, is there anything that you wish you had known, Claire, before entering perimenopause that you wish you'd known?
I mean, Davina talks about a lot, but until you actually experience some of the symptoms, the worst symptoms, you can't explain it. And all the knowledge in the world, sometimes I don't think your brain clicks what it is. I think sometimes you really think, probably because you're not in a good place at that time, you
Yeah.
really think you've lost your marbles and that you need to go to psychiatric is where you need to go.
Sure.
That's how I felt, and I felt like I couldn't really talk to anybody because I thought they would judge me,
Yeah.
and they would think I was round the bend, really. So I couldn't tell everybody everything because I felt like they would take me to psychiatric, and that was the last place I wanted to be because my father-in-law was in there, and it had such massive triggers for me.
Oh,
Of
course.
Really bad place, and I just thought I can't tell somebody that what I'm feeling inside because they'll just cart me straight off now in a white jacket.
Yeah, bless
But
you.
I'm so glad the doctor could actually see it because he'd seen me the week before and I was perfectly fine.
Right.
Week after, I'm going there and I'm hallucinating, seeing things. I'm not in a good place, and he said you've got a water infection. I was hallucinating from the water infection. Now I've seen it from my mother-in-law who's got dementia.
Yeah.
That made me feel as if I was going even more insane. But I'm glad that he realised that he thought it was through my menopause, not from anything else. So I think I was extremely lucky
Yes.
because I don't ever want to experience that again, to be
No.
honest. It wasn't nice. And I think the doctor's wrong. I don't think it is my menopause, is what I thought, I think. But you're not in a good place, so you can't really judge.
Yeah. You can't rationalise
No,
those,
no,
where you're at.
no, not great at all. But luckily, they did get it right because I don't get any of that now. Nothing. No anxiety. I'm as calm as I was before. I've always been a calm person, relaxed, and completely different since going on the patches. It did take a while, and I would say to people, hang on in there. If you
Yeah.
don't get the right answer from the first doctor, keep going. Keep going.
For sure.
But some people
Absolutely,
wouldn't.
Claire.
I dread for the people that wouldn't.
Lovely. Well, I think that brings us to the end of our chat today. I would like to thank you for being so open and honest about your experience. I think It's really going to resonate with so many other women who are also going through the same, and potentially afraid to speak up for the same reasons.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
I hope it helps anybody it can, even the smallest of things. And I thank you.
Oh, thanks, Claire. Okay, well, I'm sure we'll speak again soon. All right.
Thank you.
Take care.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to Menopause Unplugged. I hope you found the conversation to be informative, enlightening, and empowering. Remember, menopause is a natural part of a woman's life journey, but it doesn't have to be a lonely one. Whether you're experiencing perimenopause or menopause, my menopause coaching program can provide reassurance and guidance. Please do reach out to me through my contact details on the show description. And until next time, take care.